Miren, les traigo esta información de nuestro alcalde que nos dio, pues, habló a los medios de comunicación sobre the International Economic Global Forum of the Americas, y lo que está interesado en hacer es invitar pues algunas compañías, corporaciones, pequeños negocios de Latinoamérica a que vengan e inviertan aquí en Toronto y que se puedan ofrecer más trabajos pues a los ciudadanos de aquí. Además es importante que lo escuchen porque él está muy interesado en que la comunidad de diferentes razas, por lo regular pues las minorías, no tenemos mucha oportunidad o acceso a trabajos, y por eso él está viendo la posibilidad de hacer este intercambio con Latinoamérica, además de que ya se tiene con Estados Unidos, pero él piensa que con Latinoamérica pues nunca hemos tenido pues una puerta abierta. Entonces él quiere invitar pues a estas compañías, a los que vinieron a este foro que se llevó a cabo el pasado julio 10. Y bueno, aquí lo tienen para que ustedes escuchen lo que el mayor, nuestro alcalde, John Tory, dijo.
Where are they from? Brazil and from Chile and so on, who are here in Toronto. And again, I would just say to you, almost by way of an opening comment, it's part of the reason why I have believed from the beginning, before I was the mayor, that this event, and by this event I mean not just the games, the Pan Am and Parapan games, but also the forum being held in conjunction with the games, and for that matter the climate change forum. These events are very important. They bring people here. I asked the people who were here as buyers from the Americas, had any of them ever been to Toronto before, and none of them had. And they were telling stories yesterday of going to visit businesses here with the prospect of buying things from us, and that as they visited one business, they'd be referred to another, and they'd get in a cab, literally, because the person they were visiting said, well, you should go and see this company over here, and take a cab over there. This is how we're going to grow our economy, and it's also why we had the forum this morning, the breakfast, because I certainly understand the fact that there are two things I think that have happened in this city, as prosperous as it is, and as prosperous as I know it will continue to be. The first is that we have been very reliant on our domestic market and haven't had the kind of outward-looking approach that we might have. And in cases where and you heard me mention this morning, the fact that 5 to 7% of our companies export at all are small and medium-sized companies. And we have to do better than that. It's a huge opportunity for us. When people have chosen to export, of course, I think we all know, that has often limited itself to exporting to the United States. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we are blessed to live next door to the United States in a market of that size. Again, there are all these other countries, the more you head south, with huge populations, and they have rapidly growing economies. And they have connections now here to wonderful, vibrant, substantial-sized communities right here in Toronto that can help us to understand those countries and how they do business and so on. And that represents a huge opportunity, again, for companies from here to do more business and thus to help raise the level of prosperity in Toronto. And then the third reason for having this meeting this morning is that I believe that over time, we haven't made the effort as a city government, and we can't solve this problem alone, but we haven't made the effort as a city government that we have to make going forward to make sure that the very thriving business communities that exist in Toronto, that are largely consisting sometimes of people who started their lives outside of the country and came here and set up businesses here, have been included in access to opportunities, so that when we take trade missions somewhere, do we think to call the Latin American enterprises that exist and say, would you like to come with us? Would you like to be more included in the affairs of the Board of Trade and things like that, where oftentimes there hasn't been that thought to reach out and say, we need your help. Same with the Caribbean business community and the Black Business Professional Association. I mean, I've gone for year after year to the Harry Jerome Awards and seen the incredible array of talent that exists in that room, a lot of it from the Caribbean, that exist in the business and professional world of Toronto, but are they fully integrated and plugged in so that they can take full advantage and be given equal opportunity to participate in the business prosperity that's going to come our way because Toronto is a thriving center of innovation and opportunity. And so my objective this morning is to bring people together from one part of that world, in this case the Latin American countries and the Caribbean, to say, we're going to start to reach out specifically and put you in rooms with us and with other people and give access to people like the three that sat at the front this morning and our own expertise at City Hall to make sure that these businesses have every bit as much opportunity as every other business in Toronto. Yes, as I mentioned this morning, at procurement of things by the city itself right here at home, but also in our outreach activities to get more and more businesses here to reach out and find places outside the country where they can sell their goods and services and thus create jobs at home. So, and I believe, by the way, with many of the problems we face in our city, and you know, while I'm putting our best foot forward this week as I talk to foreign media about Toronto, because we have lots to say that's positive, we know we have our challenges here, and the number one thing that is going to help us address those challenges the most, it's not the only thing, is going to be jobs for people who don't have jobs. And we know in many cases that people who are relative newcomers to the country, sometimes people with a different color of skin, to be quite candid about it, have a higher level of unemployment and a greater need for us to make a special effort to make sure that they have access to opportunity. That's all they're asking for, access to opportunity. It's all the businesses, whether they be Latin American, Caribbean, or anybody else. They just want equal access to opportunity. Then they can show what they can do. And that's what this morning was about. So now I'm happy to answer.